Howdy y'all, welcome to Hazen Barrel Craftworks here on the Hazen Barrel Homestead and our humble whiskey room. I'm the Alchemist. Well, happy Monday y'all, and I hope you made it through the holidays and enjoyed yourself and were safe and had a good time. I know I did. I had a good time. There were some illnesses there. My son and his wife and the twins and my daughter and her son, they got a little bit ill. At least the baby was okay. And I even got just a little bit under the weather, but made it through. And thankfully my beautiful bride, she didn't get ill, but just, well, her little incident from when she was traveling still keeping her down just a little bit, not sick, just in a little bit of pain. But overall, we had a good time getting together with family and just, you know, had a nice time. But like most of y'all, I'm sure it's back to work now today, Monday, and back in that groove. And we're sticking with our theme for January, and that is warming up winter with whiskey. And even though the temperatures have been warming up, at least here in South Dakota and my small town South Dakota, that winter wind, even though the temperatures have been warming up, that winter wind is keeping it cold. So this week, we're bumping up that proof a little bit. Last week, we started with those proofs from, 110 to 120. This week, we're bumping it up into the 120 to just under 130 proof. And I found one that I thought was a pretty good one to start with today. And that is Prohibition. This is a single barrel offering, and I found this one at a store that I like to visit every time I go to Sioux Falls, and that's WilLiqours. And I don't know if y'all tuned into my week where I did my week of, well, bottle picks, I'll call it. You know, that allure of a bottle that just draws you in and you buy it because, well, that bottle looked kind of nice. And I had a few bottles like that, and I'm not going to lie to you, what drew me in on this one was the look of this Prohibition style bottle. And then even when the label said Prohibition, that drew me in even further. But then I got to looking a little bit closer, and I saw, well, it's a single barrel. Yeah, I like me a single barrel. I like the uniqueness of a single barrel. And then I read a little bit further, and I saw, well, it's double oaked. And I love me a double oaked as well. I like that it draws more sugars out of that second barrel. I like that you get a little bit more oakiness on there. And so, yeah, that double oak drew me in. And then I read a little bit more on the label, and it's a number 4 char. And I really like a number 4 char. And that's one of the things I really enjoy about Wild Turkey as well. I don't know how many of y'all know that about Wild Turkey, but that's a number 4 char. Number 4 is what they call an alligator char. And it just gives that nice, well, char taste, that good burnt oaky taste to a whiskey. And I really enjoy that. I mentioned that in a lot of my videos, how I like that oaky, that char oakiness in a whiskey. But then I'll read a little bit further, and it's got 120.2 proof. Well, 120 proof, yeah, you really seal the deal there. And then I read just a little bit more, and it's from Bardstown Bourbon Company, Bardstown, Kentucky. And now you got me, because Bardstown Bourbon Company You know, they got some, well, first of all, they got some good stuff going. As I read, and you know, any of y'all who know me, or any of y'all who are in any of the chat communities that I'm in, and pay attention to any of the stuff that I chat, you know that I like to do some research and share some stories. And Bardstown, as I do my research and things, and I don't know if I've shared any stories about Bardstown Bourbon Company yet, but as I do research looking for some of the stories I share, Bardstown, they're kind of I don't know, maybe I'll call it a ghost distillery a little bit, is the term that I'll use. And I say that because when they were first starting out, you know, they had to distill a lot to put up on the shelf. And as they distilled and put their barrels up to age, once they got enough barrels aging, they still had to make some money. And so they did some distilling for companies like Jefferson's. And I know, you know, there's a lot of folk that have their Jeffersons and enjoy their Jeffersons. So they did some distilling for some well-known companies. And another company they did some stuff for is for High West. And I know I've got my bottles of High West that I enjoy. I've got some Jeffersons yet here to crack to give it a try on my own yet, so I can't speak towards Jefferson's. But you know, they've done some distilling for companies that have a name for themselves, and they're making a name for themselves too. And to me, you know, you've got companies out there like WilLiqours going out to do some barrel picks with these guys, and first of all, just, you know, look at the beautiful color on this. And this is a 5-year-old bottle right here. This is a 5-year-old whiskey with this kind of deep color and 120 proof. That's some good stuff right there. And WilLiqours, at least in my area, WilLiqours is a huge liquor store. Every time I go to Sioux Falls, I've got to stop in to WilLiqours to do some liquor picking, and I've got to see what they got. I've got to go through their selection, and as you'll see throughout this month, I'll try to be sure to make mention of which bottles they are. I've got quite a few bottles that we're going through this month, as I have the month planned already in my head on what we're using. They come from WilLiqours because there's a good selection, a great selection, decent prices on this stuff, and some really good bottles. Not only that, what you'll see with WilLiqours is you walk into the store, at least the one in Sioux Falls where I go to. I've not yet had a chance to go to the one in North Dakota. But you walk into that store, you turn to the right, and there is this huge shelf just of barrel picks. A fantastic selection of barrel picks. And when you go into WilLiqours, another thing to know about them is you go to the back of the store, and you know, they've got fantastic employees too. I didn't find out about this until an employee was asking what I was looking for, as they noticed me really going through and reading the bottles and understanding the barrel picks that they had. They invited me to walk to the back of the store, where they had a very nice looking bar and a shelf on the back of their barrel picks, and you can try before you buy at WilLiqours. They got some nice little Glens. They crack open the bottle for you. They give you just a small pour to try their barrel picks, and you can try before you buy. It's fantastic. And this employee that I was talking to as well, they told me that they actually have a team for WilLiqours that goes out to do their barrel picks. So they're not one of these places that is just accepting these overrun barrels from the distilleries, that it's off profile and not necessarily a negative off profile barrel and just accepting it because a distillery has given it to them. No, they've got teams that go out and pick these exceptional barrels. And to me, this Prohibition single barrel bottle is a pretty good, no, not a pretty good, is a very nice, a very good example of a solid barrel pick by WilLiqours, and some solid distilling by Bardstown Bourbon Company. I mean, just right off the bat on the nose, I'm getting some nice fruit and some nice. It's a combination of caramel and brown sugar, leaning more towards the caramel. And we're getting into that 120 proof. And so one of my problems right away with the way I love to nose a bourbon, for any of y'all who watch me, you're going to know this right away. I love to just nose and nose. And the problem you're going to have with me all week here, as I nose these things, I nose too much. Well, now we're getting into some healthy proof. We're in the 120 up. And I'm going to nose too much. Inevitably, I'm going to get that ethanol in the lungs and I'm going to start coughing a little bit. So maybe what I need to do is take just a little shot of water here. Calm me down a little bit. So I can nose and taste this. But holy crap, just look at that color. Look at that color. And it's just so impressive. You see it on that bottle. And the legs start to form. And they are viscous. They are thick. They are sticking on there. Okay, I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to go in for my sip. It's oily. It's berry. It's stone fruit, really. Not berry, stone fruit. Cherry. And I'm going to stick with oily. I'm not getting that butteriness. I'm not getting a creaminess. It's viscous. It's oily viscous that I get on this one. Still cherries on the nose. The brown sugar I thought I had. Going away, sticking more to caramel. Lick my lips on this one, and it's cherries. And as I sit here and talk, nice oakiness develops. Really nice oakiness develops. And that cherry and caramel develops. But I need a few more sips because this just exudes complexity. And I just, one of those where I find myself, what do I want to do next? Because it's developing and developing. What a nice pour. At that 120 proof, this heat is really just a nice hug going down. It's not taking over. It's not slapping you in the face. It's a nice hug. And again, it's for those of y'all who watch me know, I love that heat on the tip of my tongue. It's there. It's just complementing this whole thing. It's dancing on the tip of my tongue nicely. and it's a warm hug going down. Perfect for warm in winter with whiskey, just perfect. That barrel is developing nicely on my palate. A nice oak. And what's interesting to me is this is a number 4 char. The char on this is just a compliment. It's not overpowering. I'd be interested to know, and I should have looked this up, is that second barrel also number 4? Because it's just the number 4 char is just a compliment. Very nice. Not overwhelming in any way. The caramel is getting richer as I take more sips, developing really nicely into a deep, rich caramel, complementing that cherry and bringing out some nice vanilla bean vanilla. A nice deep vanilla bean vanilla with that sweetness that you get from a vanilla bean. And I don't know if any of y'all know what I mean by that, but when you have a vanilla bean vanilla, it is a very distinctly different sweetness, natural sweet vanilla smell than if you're getting artificial vanilla with that sugary sweetness. Like if you're taking sugar and making a simple syrup and adding artificial vanilla sweetener to it, which is a very nice strong white cane sugar vanilla sweetness to it, and that's inviting, that's pleasant. But when you take vanilla beans and you slice them open, you scrape some of that vanilla out, you put that into whatever you're using and throw that pot in, and you let those flavors and those aromas develop, you get a very distinct, rich vanilla bean sweetness that comes through, and that's exactly what's coming through on this one. Very nice, very nice. I thought for a moment I had a hint of coffee bean, but I'm really not getting that. It's more of that nice barrel and that hint of number 4 char on this. Just fantastic. Overall, a great pour. What a perfect way to start this week of 120 proof week. I'm definitely going to have to go back to WilLiqours, I think, and get me a backup of this one before this barrel pick is gone, because this one is fantastic. Bardstown Bourbon Company doing a remarkable job on this. I definitely look out for product done by them, and if you got a WilLiqours in your area, I don't know how far they expand. I know they're in Fargo, I know they're in Sioux Falls. If you're anywhere near them, find a barrel pick from them, or go in and see their vast selection and see what we can get by them. But really good stuff here, really good bottle to start this week. And as y'all know, I'd love to have you coming back around, so please take it easy. Don't drink and drive. Cheers.